Hello there, it's Angie Wilson here, and today I want to teach you a skill that will help empower you and help you feel stronger and more confident. I want to teach you how to deal with negative emotions in a way that you've probably never heard before. Now, first of all, the term negative emotion is a judgment and it's subjective, but generally there are emotions that most humans don't enjoy feeling. We find these emotions to be painful, uncomfortable, and even intolerable. So, some examples are despair, grief, sadness, anxiety, anger, and shame. Now, when one of these feelings creeps up, we typically do one of three things. First, we might resist the emotion. We push it down, we fight against it. We don't want it to be there at all. We might feel tense and maybe even combative when we feel that emotion coming on. The second way is we react to the emotion. We let the emotion dictate our actions. We might scream, say something that without thinking, cry, slam doors, or make a rash decision. The third thing we often do with negative emotion is to avoid it. This might look like focusing on something else, distracting ourselves, trying to make ourselves feel a different or better emotion. So we might scroll through Facebook, watch Netflix, eat something, drink alcohol, or overwork. Now, none of these three ways that we typically deal with negative emotion are very helpful. When we resist, react to, or avoid emotion, we just perpetuate the emotion. It doesn't go anywhere, and in fact, it often becomes stronger. So, how do we handle negative emotion in a way that benefits us? The answer is we allow the emotion to be there and we feel it for as long as we need to. Now, this may be a new concept for you and it may sound a little strange, but let me explain. So, when we allow a negative emotion, we welcome it to be there. We don't try to get rid of it or avoid it. We don't obey it. We simply sit with it. We feel the sensation that it's producing in our bodies. And that's really all an emotion is. When you think about it, an emotion is just a vibration or a sensation that shows up somewhere in our bodies. So when we allow an emotion, we can become the observer of it. So we want to get really curious about the emotion in our body when we do this exercise of allowing an emotion. We should ask ourselves questions like, where do I feel this emotion right now in my body? It might be in your stomach, your chest, your shoulders, your head. It can show up anywhere. Ask yourself, is the sensation moving at all? Is it flowing? Is it vibrating? Is it traveling to a different part of my body? If this emotion had a color, what color would it be? What would it feel like physically if I could touch this emotion? Would it be hard, smooth, soft, bumpy? And as you're asking yourself these questions and sitting with the emotion, don't judge anything about it. Just allow it to be there. Stay with the sensation in your body for as long as you need to. Just keep observing it and notice if anything changes. Now, I've done this several times and I've had some really fascinating and powerful experiences when I've allowed and processed negative emotion. So, for me, the sensation of the emotion continued to change as I observed it. It became smaller, less intense, and sometimes it just dissipated altogether. Now, this may not happen for you in this exact way, and you shouldn't really have an expectation when you enter this practice. The whole point of it is just to observe and allow the emotion to be there until you feel like it's complete, until you feel like it's moved on or moved through. So, why is allowing a negative emotion such a good thing to do? Well, by doing this practice of allowing and observing, you're facing your negative emotions head on. Instead of resisting them, reacting to them, or avoiding them, you are facing them and you are allowing them to move through your body and run their course. Research actually shows that the sensation of an emotion only lasts 2 to 5 minutes. So when you allow a negative emotion to exist in your body, it doesn't last long. And you'll realize that the emotion that you have been avoiding is really not that scary and it's not that painful. And that is when the magic happens. When you really realize that you are capable of feeling and facing any emotion, then there is nothing you can't do. Think of the things that you've avoided doing in your life because you didn't want to experience embarrassment or failure or sadness or grief. Think about the things you've used in your life to numb or avoid your emotions, like alcohol, drugs, or overeating. So when you aren't afraid to feel any emotion, the world opens up to you. You feel so powerful, confident, and brave. Try it and see for yourself.